At 1:17 a.m., camera 4 went gray for half a second. I noticed it because the flicker didn't match the others. It stood out. When the image came back, there was someone standing in the hallway. I leaned toward the monitor without really thinking about it. They were close to the lens, close enough that the image softened around the edges. I remember sitting there, trying to understand what I was seeing before deciding what to do next. The building was supposed to be empty. That was the entire reason I'd taken the job. It was overnight security, a temporary contract, nothing complicated. Sit at a desk, watch the cameras, log anything unusual, and call in if needed. The building itself was an old municipal annex, office space that had been cleared out months earlier. There was no staff, no visitors, no cleaning crews after hours. They were clear about that from the start. Camera 4 covered the east hallway on the 3rd floor. No windows, just a long stretch of carpet with office doors on both sides. On the screen, the person wasn't moving. They didn't step away when the feed returned. They didn't react at all. They were standing slightly off-center, like they hadn't meant to be seen. I checked the timestamp. It was live. I checked the surrounding cameras next. The stairway was empty. The elevator lobby was empty. There was no sign of anyone entering or leaving that floor. After about 10 seconds, the hallway feed went back to normal. Empty again. I logged it as a signal interruption. Brief visual artifact. Possible compression issue. It was the safest explanation, the kind that didn't invite follow-up questions. Over the next few nights, nothing like that happened again. The cameras glitched occasionally, but old building, old wiring, that made it easier to push the first incident aside, at least for a while. It happened again later that week. Different camera, different floor. This time it was the lobby. The feed cut for less than a second, and when it came back, someone was standing near the reception desk. They weren't facing the doors, they were facing the desk. The thing is, though, I never heard the front doors open. I called out over the radio before leaving the desk. No response. When I checked the lobby in person, everything was normal. The desk was clean, the doors were locked. There was no sign anyone had been there. That entry never made it into the log. After that, I started paying closer attention. The appearances followed the same pattern each time. A brief interruption, then someone would be there. Always still, always facing the camera. Never visible anywhere else in the building. I started writing the times down on a separate piece of paper, not for work, just for myself. I couldn't see a pattern, but there were more of them. A few nights later, it showed up again on the 3rd floor. It was closer to the camera than before, not by much, just enough to notice. I went up to check right away. The hallway was empty from one end to the other. The emergency exit was still locked. The alarm hadn't been triggered. And when I reviewed the footage later, the person hadn't moved at all. That's when I realized something. They weren't walking towards the cameras. They were just already closer each time. The following night, I heard something for the first time. It was faint, like fabric shifting. I stopped what I was doing and listened. When I looked at the monitors, camera 4 was active. Someone was standing right in front of it. So close to the lens that it couldn't focus properly. I didn't hear breathing. The audio feed was completely empty. But the sound above me stopped at the same time the screen went clear. After that, I stopped leaving the desk unless I absolutely had to. On my last night there, the cameras didn't glitch. They just changed. One moment the lobby was empty, the next someone was standing behind the reception desk. Then another camera updated, then another. Each screen showed someone standing closer to the lens. Hallways, offices, storage rooms. One of them was outside the security office door. I didn't hear anyone moving. The door stayed closed. I stayed in the chair until morning. When the sun came up, I quit. I didn't explain why. The building is still listed as vacant. I checked recently. Sometimes I think about the way they stood in front of the cameras. Not aggressive, not threatening, just still. Like they were waiting for something to notice them first.